to Dugout Dad's local sports podcast here for our second episode of 2025 here live at Nobel's. I'm your host, Michael Hughes, with my co-host,
Jonathan Parker.
Where our skills are questionable,
but our spirit is unstoppable.
Once again, we want to thank Nobel's for hosting us here, Jonathan, for letting us come out. And once again, glad to be back at Nobel's. We took a little bit of time off, but we're here now, and we appreciate them for hosting us always for here, letting us come here.
Yes, and it's a very exciting day. It's our player segment, one that's always near and dear to our hearts. And so, yeah, it's good to be back in the comfort area, and just appreciate everybody coming out to support these student athletes this week. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, first off, before we get going, we want to thank our sponsors, right? And once again, we want to thank Kobe McKinney with Underwood Realty, who is our title sponsor here on Dugout Dads. We appreciate everything Kobe's done for us this year and what he brings to us here. And also want to thank Pizza Hut for being our sponsor of our coaches segment, and then Infinity Promotions that's done some of our Dugout Dads apparel for us. And then once again, Nobel's, we want to thank them for hosting us here for the Dugout Dads.
And also to Hashtag Hollies for sponsoring our Player of the Week. Where this week, Michael, we're going to honor our 4 players of the month. We had Cooper Williams and Emory Jones from Smith County, and Mackenzie Heron and Carter Gibson from Gordonsville.
Something that me and Jonathan, we've talked about for a long time is, we want to highlight all of our local athletes, right? And this is no better way to do that and to reward them for what they do in their games, right? So that's the best way that we found that we can reward these players for what they do, these student athletes for how they compete and what they do individually at their high school level.
Michael, that's kind of what you and I talked about when we started this podcast. Is these student athletes that we have here locally, they put forth a lot of time, a lot of effort, and we just want to kind of give back to them for their efforts and just kind of give them a little bit of the recognition that they deserve.
Yep, and like I say, as Jonathan mentioned, we got 4 players of the week/month. We talked about when we got to the basketball season that we was going to do more of the player of the month segment, just because they play so many games, and we feel like the month is a good tell us how they done and how they are for that month, and that way we can reward them at the end of the month.
Right, it's a good grading scale. It's hard to go if you got 3 games this week. You might struggle in a game, and so we just felt like that we could analyze the stats, give us more clear picture, and we would honor each month. And we're going to do the same thing with baseball because again they play so many games. So we're going to have a player of the month segment for boys and girls at both of our high schools.
Yeah, we definitely want to thank the coaches for helping us out with this. For GHS, we got Coach Greg Bibb and then Terry Brock for the girls, and then for Smith County High School, Lane Bassell for the boys and Matt Farrell for the girls. They gave us a lot of their input as well because we want the coaches' input, right? They see them more than we see them, but they gave us input this week, and they helped us in our selection process.
Absolutely, and you look at the stats as they sent us; they're very deserving individuals.
And once we get to the player of the month, but some of the stats that they've sent me, these athletes here that we have in our local high schools can really put up some stats.
Absolutely.
Looking at the stats here that I've got for a couple of these players here, man, that's and these couple of these players are freshmen.
Mm-hmm.
And playing great, and the stats they're putting up and helping their teams win is amazing to me what they've done so far in their young careers in high school athletics.
Absolutely. It's just very exciting. Like you say, you got 2 freshmen. So man, there's a lot of exciting time for the basketball for sure.
Yeah, and before we get started with our player of the month segment, just want a little breakdown of what we're going to do tonight in our show. We're going to have our athletes that come to Nobel's. We'll have them up. We'll talk to them for a few minutes. Then we'll break down our county elementary championship games that were held this past weekend. Talk a little NCAA football. The CFP championship was last Monday night. We'll talk about that and jump into some UT basketball and talk about how they're doing. Even touch on a couple of other local schools in basketball, and then some more local stuff that we want to talk about. Little league baseball and softball, and then we'll mention our alumni game and then our first pitch dinner for the Smith County High School.
Yes, we got a lot of exciting events coming up, in the county that support our youth programs and our, baseball programs. So we're going to try to get the word out on that. And so if you're ready, I am.
Well, without further ado, we're going to start our Player of the Month segment. And our first guest tonight is from our Smith County girls team, and that'll be Emory Jones. Come on up, Emory. You can tell Emery's brothers really clapping for him tonight.
Good afternoon, Emery. How are you?
Doing good.
You can.
Hey, Emery, we will start with you. And first off, congratulations for being selected for the Player of the Month from the Dugout Dads. We want to thank Coach Farrell as well, because Coach Farrell, really gave you a real high recommendation for us. And when we went to him, we asked him about who he wanted to be for, Player of the Month. You was the first name he gave us. So we're like, so congratulations to you. We appreciate what coming up here and seeing us tonight, and what you've done so far in your season.
Thank you.
So, Emery, tell us about. I guess the first question I have is: you're a freshman.
I'm a sophomore.
You're a sophomore.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, how is from your freshman year to your sophomore year? How have you seen yourself grow?
I'm making more layups. I guess.
Well, that's
I guess
always
a
good.
good thing.
I guess more accurate. Yeah, all my shots and stuff, and just I can handle the ball better this year, and it's just I think it's tremendously better than last year.
Yeah, so a couple of things for me. I'm looking here, and Coach Farrell sends me your stats for your sophomore season. So right now you're averaging 11 points per game, 4.6 rebounds a game, 3.8 assists per game, and also 3.6 steals per game. So me and Jonathan got to watch you firsthand in a couple of your games this year, because we broadcast the Gornsville game, and you're all over the floor. You're everywhere. I mean, it's like you're like the Energizer Bunny that never stops.
I try my best.
I know for me, in that game that we broadcast, you flashed all over the court that night. It was offensively, defensively, you were everywhere. And I think that's just a testament to your coaches, your effort, and, kudos to your parents for what they've instilled in you, that hard-nosed mentality out there. And, man, I told Michael that night, I was like, she is amazing out there tonight.
Well, thank you.
So, a couple of questions that I have for you about your game. All right, when you think about the game you play, do you consider yourself a scorer? Are you an assist person? Are you a defender? What do you consider yourself individually as a player?
I think my best attribute is probably assists, like passing and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, if you would ask me, I was definitely going to say defender, just for the game we seen you play, especially when you played the Gornsville game. When your steals, I don't remember. We had stats that night. I don't remember how many steals you had that night, but I would have said defender. But looking at you, you're across the board. You can play you can do everything. It looks like
I call it a stat stuffer.
A stat stuffer, 100%.
You look at it: steals, points, rebounds. You cover all the bases, and so congratulations. Tell us a little bit about your upcoming schedule. How you're feeling? I think y'all are ninth in the state right now in 2A.
Yeah,
I think that's right.
Tell us a little bit about what's coming up and what you're expecting moving forward.
Well, we'll play a bunch of the same teams we've already played. So I mean, the ones that we lost, we can try and get revenge back on them. Well, hopefully that's what we'll do. And this week we'll play Clark Range. I really hope to win that one, because we absolutely blew it last time. And we'll play White County on Tuesday, which will be a tough game for us. But I think we can, if we play like we know how to play, we'll do good. But,
something we've always asked every athlete that we've had on, especially that are underclassmen, we always ask this question: how has the seniors that you've played with your last 2 years impacted what you do and how you play on this team?
I think they've really just set up everything for us the past 2 years. Last year's seniors, I couldn't ask for any better seniors last year. And then this year's seniors, they're just keeping it going from last year, and just everything about it's great.
And we're going to give you the opportunity here to either praise Coach Farrell or you can bash Coach Farrell. It's okay. Whatever you want to do here on this show is completely okay. So we tell us a little about, how your relationship is with Coach Farrell and what he's meant to you coming from a freshman to a sophomore.
He's been great. I mean, besides when he yells at me. But he's really kept the whole team, just encourages them really good. And I think that when I'm down, he really gets me up. He does bash us sometimes like that, but I mean,
That's what coaches are supposed to do, right?
That's what.
If they're not bashing you, that means they don't care. They don't think you can succeed. So that's what I was always told. Is if a coach isn't yelling at you, then you're probably not doing the right things anyway.
Yeah, and another question for me. You see last year, you come in as a freshman, you guys make it to the Glass House, right? So what was that experience for you going as a freshman to the state tournament?
I expect it this year. That's all I can get from last year. I expect to go there this year too.
That's a good way to have it. And my last question for me is, I'm sure everybody in this restaurant wants to know, who can beat who when it comes to you and Knox? Who wins that basketball matchup?
We are I'm winning right now. We have a ongoing games. It's no, actually, it's 2-1. I think right now.
Well,
I'm 2 and he's 1.
Well, I would have expected that too. That's okay.
But you're better, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah, 100%.
100%. I mean, look at us.
And for those who don't know, Knox is her little brother. Well, congratulations. We wish you the best on the continued success this season. And here is your Player of the Week shirt.
Thank you.
Player of the Month shirt. You'll hold it up and we can get a picture.
Once again, Amber, congratulations to you. We're not opposed to you may be back here again, right? You keep having those good months that you're having, and you may be back here again. So congratulations to you so far and what you've done and what the team has accomplished so far, being number 9 in the state. And then good luck to you the rest of the year, and hopefully you make the Glass House.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks, Emery. And, Michael, I just harbor back to that game that you and I broadcast. And, Coach sent us this and the stats. She jumped off the page for me and was just
And if I'm not
did
mistaken,
everything.
if I'm not mistaken, Jonathan, the night that we did the Gornsville game, she was our player of the game that night.
Yes, she was.
You're right. When you said it right. And you look at her stats, she's a stat stuffer, without a doubt. I mean, you can't ask for more roundabout play from a player that averages almost 4 to 5 in all the stats that she puts on the board.
And as a coach, going out there knowing that that's one of your starting 5, that you're going to get that night in, night out, that has to be refreshing to know that, hey, I don't have to worry about that spot tonight.
So congratulations to her, and we're gonna continue on now. We're gonna move over to the Gornsville side of the house, and we're gonna bring up Mackenzie Herron, who's our Gornsville Girls Player of the Month.
Hello, Mackenzie. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing well. So, tell us a little bit about yourself, what grade you're in, and everything, and we'll start there.
Well, I'm in 11th grade, and I love basketball, so
So how many years have you been playing basketball?
more than I can count since 3rd grade.
Do you play any other sports besides basketball?
Softball.
You play softball too. So you've been part of the back-to-back state championships.
Yep.
All right. Well, good. So, Mackenzie, we'll start with you as well. First off, congratulations for being selected as the Dugout Dash Player of the Month. Once again, thanks to Coach Terry Brock for nominating you and selecting you to get this award from us. And, congratulations to you for so far the season you've had.
Thank you.
So I believe this past week you had a 30-point game. Tell us a little bit about that game and how it went for you. Sounded like it went pretty good.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I just got to drive to the basket a lot and got a lot of and ones, and I actually hit my free throw, so.
So I'm assuming career high, 30 points?
Yeah.
Most you've ever had? 30 points in any game. I don't care if it's in double overtime or not. 30 points in any game in high school is a great accomplishment to have. Talk about a little bit how your seasons went this far. I know you guys just lost a close game to Clark Range this past Friday night, but outside of that, how your season's going. And it looks like to me that Coach Brock's really turned around the Gornsville Tigerette program from what it's been in the past. Let's be honest, you guys haven't won a lot of games in the last few years. But it looks like Coach Brock has brought in a new, exciting time to Gornsville Tigerette basketball.
Yeah, she has definitely helped us out a lot. Out of practice, we're hustling and we're doing everything, trying to change as much as we can. And she's definitely helped me just as a player, not as just the whole team.
So Mackenzie, as an upperclassman, you're in your junior year. What has been the biggest jump you've made from maybe your freshman, sophomore year?
Well, you need to put God first in your life, and I've really tried to do that. And also just going to the gym on your own and working besides practice.
Yeah, and that's what I think you see it. You kind of see it more and more that a lot of you student athletes are putting in the extra work that nobody gets to see. You're going in the gym when nobody's in there. You're going there shooting no basket. I'm sure Emory's the same way. You guys are getting a lot of extra reps that nobody else is working for, and that shows, right? I mean, you got 30 points against Clay County. I mean, that's just not by accident. So once again, congratulations for that.
And it just shows the hard work and dedication that you put in. Tell us a little bit about what's coming up. What are your goals for the rest of the season? I mean, I know you want a trip to the Glass House, but just talk a little bit about that and tell us what your expectations are, what you got remaining.
Well, just as myself, I just want to be a better teammate and a better person outside of basketball too. And learning to control my facial expressions on the court sometimes. But
do they get a little rough from time to time?
Yeah, if I'm not playing well, I just kind of get down on myself, and everybody can tell. So I've been trying to work on that. But
so I meant to ask Cameron this, and I totally forgot about it. But asking you, because I've seen your mom's really active about what you do. How much do you hear her in the stands while you're playing your game?
Well, if this tells you anything, we were watching film one day, and the camera was close to her, and everybody asked who mom was screaming, and it happened to be mine. So yeah, I hear her quite a bit.
That's okay.
But it's encouraging, right? I mean, she's
sometimes.
But once again, we congratulations to you so far. And it looks like upcoming this week, you guys you got Red Bowling Springs and then Van Buren. Have you guys already played those two teams already? How'd you fare this in the first time?
Red Bowling, we beat them by 12 points, I'm pretty sure. Van Buren, we only lost by a few, and we didn't play the best against Red Bowling, so I feel like if we go in with a better mindset this time, that we can beat them by way more than 12 points. In Van Buren, it's not a district game, but it still matters, so I just feel like we just got to go in there with a good mindset.
So, and I can't remember, Jonathan, but and Mickey, you can correct me if I'm wrong. You don't have any seniors on your basketball team.
We have Lucy. We have one senior.
Okay, so you do have one. You do have one senior on the team. So we asked Emery about how the upperclassmen help her. But what do you do for your underclassmen that you're there? You want them to follow your lead, right? And like you should put God first, right? So that's 100%. You're already ahead of the game. Saying that. But what do you do to help the younger classmen during the games and during practice?
When not just during practice, but off time or whatever, when I'm going to the gym, I always offer, like I send it to our group chat, or like I'll just text people individually, especially underclassmen, especially Leah, because me and her are really close. Like I text her all the time, like, hey, do you want to go to the gym? Do you want to go shoot? Do you want to just get some work in? Just stuff like that.
So do you pride yourself more on the offensive side? A 30-point game, I would think that defines that. But do you pride yourself more on the offense or the defensive end?
Well, honestly, it just depends on the night. But I feel like defense, I'm better at and more consistent at. Offense, I have my nights too. But I feel like defense, I'm consistent every game with.
What position did you play?
Guard.
So we had Coach Brock on earlier in the year before high school basketball started. And we asked her how she plans to run her team, how's her game plan is. So we know what she told us. We want you to tell us. Is Coach Brock an offensive-minded coach or a defensive-minded coach?
She's definitely both. She is not either side. She wants us to give her all on both sides no matter what. She said, and she said she doesn't care who scores the points. She wants to win. She doesn't care.
Yeah, that's great. I think that's exactly what she said when she was here with us early on in November.
There wasn't no deviation from that.
Not really much deviation, no.
No.
Did you talk to her before you came here tonight?
No.
I was hoping to get something more out of that, but So
we'll give you your chance real quick, like we did Emery.
Yep.
You get your chance to either praise Coach Brock or you have your chance to bash him. And Emery, you missed it. Coach Farrell actually commented on our thing and said you missed your chance to bash on him there. So, Mackenzie, you got the same chance.
I can't bash her. She's really helped me a lot. So.
Well, congratulations. We wish you the best and the rest of your season. And, just continue to go out there. Hey, we want to see you score more. So
Okay.
try to get 31 next time.
Okay.
Thanks, Mackenzie. We appreciate you coming out tonight. But like you said, we talked to Coach Brock early on in the season, and you can really tell that Mackenzie being a junior and leading them how much they've changed since the last couple of years. Their team has really gotten a lot better.
Yes, and what a bubbly personality.
Oh man,
she was great.
Mackenzie, we forgot Mackenzie. We should have gave you the chance to. Hey, Mackenzie, we didn't give you a chance to bash Coach Bush, but we'll do that in softball season. But you're talking about Coach Brock. She really has turned and just gave him a new life, right?
Yes.
A new life. And I'm not saying anything about the previous coaches that were there, but Coach Brock, some new fresh ideas that come in, somebody that's out of town, and really turned the program around a little bit.
Well, I think you and I both were very impressed when she was here that day talking about, what she had done prior. But, you could just tell that hers was going to be a work effort each and every day. She was going to come in and do her best to make sure that Gornsville Lady Tiger basketball or Tigerettes were going to be successful.
Yep.
And I think she's done a great job to this point.
Yep, she's done a great job to this point for sure. So now we're going to transition over to the boys' side of the house, and our first player of the month this year will be Cooper Williams from the Smith County High School basketball team.
Hello, Cooper.
Hey, how are you?
Doing good. How are you?
Good.
So once again, Cooper, like we tell everybody else, congratulations once again for being selected from the Dugout Dads Player of the Month. We want to thank Coach Purcell once again that, I reached out to Coach Purcell and said, Coach Purcell, who has really stood out to you in the last month for your high school basketball team? And your name was the first one he mentioned. So, congratulations for that.
Thank you, guys.
So, Cooper, tell us a little bit about how your season's going. We asked the girls. We're going to ask you the same question. Tell us a little bit about how it's going and where you feel like you're succeeding and maybe where you need to get a little work more.
Yes, sir. So far, I feel like we've done pretty good. We've lost a few games close to the end. I feel like we should have won, but I feel like we're buying in every day to what coach is saying, defense and offense, and I feel like we'll upset Jackson County Friday night. And I think we have some good things coming ahead.
And Cooper, you're a freshman, correct?
Yes, sir.
So, I watched the this past Friday night's game, Friday night's game against York that you had, Cooper. You really stood out to me. You had a really good game against them. Offensively, you really stood out. I don't know how many points you ended up with that game, but you actually really stood out to me. You really jumped to the basket, and you hit some outside shots as well.
Yes, sir. Coach Bobby's been helping me get flow on my three-pointer. I think it's really helped shown so far.
So, looking at your stats here, and Coach Purcell sent me some of your stats. As a freshman and coming in, you're playing 17, 18-year-old kids. You're averaging 15 points a game, 4 rebounds a game, and 3 assists per game. So, once again, like we talked about Emory and McKenzie as well, almost a stat stuffer. I mean, you kind of like do it all. So, the question is to you, like I posed to the other two, do you pride yourself in being an offensive player or a defensive player?
Personally, I think I'm better at offense, but I could definitely work on my defense as well as a team. But Coach Purcell emphasizes defense every day. And like I say, we try to buy in. And I feel like if we buy in, we could definitely be better.
So, Cooper, going from middle school to high school, what have you seen as the biggest challenge to this point so far?
Well, middle school, I was bigger, bigger than everyone else. High school, it's a lot more fundamental. I can't just go around everyone to score. It's not that easy. But I feel like Coach Purcell's really helped me adjust and made me better overall.
So, so we're talking about, we know that you guys have one senior on the team. You only have one senior, and you guys are relying a lot of your underclassmen to do a lot of things that, a lot of teams have upperclassmen doing. So how is it transition, from middle school to high school with all you freshman guys that are playing a lot of minutes? You guys gelled pretty good. I know you guys played a lot of AAU basketball together, but, how has that transitioned for you with the other freshmen coming up? You guys have turned into a pretty good team.
Yes, sir. So, like you said, we play AAU together. This summer, we played a lot of travel ball with the high school team, and that helped a lot.
So, Cooper, I was there for the Gornsville Smith County game, and it's kind of one of those things that was kind of a deer in the headlights look for me. It was like you guys looked extremely scared out there at times because you were playing an older group. Have you guys seen a change in how you started the season to where you're at now?
Yes, sir. I feel like from the first time we played Gornsville, I feel like second time it didn't show on the scoreboard, but I felt like we did better as a team. And Coach Purcell always talks about taking the right shots and stuff. And I feel like we've grown, and each player's learned the role, and we've done better.
Yeah. And speaking of Coach Purcell, how has he, transitioned from your dad Craig coaching you for so many years to Coach Purcell? How's that transition? How has Coach Purcell helped you in your game, and then also Coach Bobby as well?
Yeah, it's really special having Coach Bobby as a coach because he coached my dad, and Coach Purcell, he's been great. He's helped me every day in practice. We go hard in practice every day, and I feel like that's really made me a better player. So
I'm sure everybody in this restaurant, the question that everybody wants to know is, can you beat your dad one-on-one?
If me and him played 10 times, I'm beating him now.
9 out of 10, Craig.
Well,
But once again, Cooper, congratulations on the year having so far. You know, as Coach Parker said, I've seen you guys progress, especially you in particular, from the first time we watched you to me watching you against York the other night. You know, you've progressed. I seem like you've got comfortable. You know, you're kind of out of the middle school realm. Now you've played, 10 or 15 high school games, and you got those under your belt. It looks like you're a lot more comfortable now than you was when you first started.
Yes, sir. I would agree. We go over situations every day at the end of practice, and I feel like that Sparta game, we were up 10 or we was up some. They ended up coming back and we got beat. And after that, it became even more of a focus. And I feel like from there, we've really gotten better at that, and the experience has gotten better. So
the last question for me, looking ahead to the schedule, what are you trying to work on, or what are your goals toward the end of this season?
I would say district championship, definitely. We played Jackson County last week. We played with them. Not a lot of people thought we could, but we knew we could. We played with them, showed people we could. So that's definitely one of our goals.
Well, once again, congratulations for being selected the Player of the Month. We're going to follow you the rest of the year. We're excited about what you got. Being a freshman, we're excited about watching you till you become a senior. So congratulations.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys for having me.
Once again, Cooper Williams, congratulations, sir.
Thanks,
Thank
Cooper. Michael, again, our basketball programs are in a good spot. There's a lot of great talent, and I'm really excited to see these next 2 or 3 years and what our county produces at the title district, state level.
It's still really, and we talked about it in football a lot this year. Outside of Gornsville, who was senior laden, but you look at all the young athletes, the student athletes that are playing valuable minutes on the basketball floor for both programs.
Yes.
It is amazing to me that some of these freshmen, they're coming in right out of middle school and they're getting on the court, and holding their own against some of these 17, 18-year-old players that's been in there for 4 years.
I mean, we just had Cooper, 15 points as a freshman.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's your low point, sky's the limit from here on out.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, we appreciate Coach Basile for giving us those stats. And, we'll finish out tonight with our Gornsville Player of the Month. Carter couldn't join us tonight, but, we appreciate Coach Bill giving that recommendation for Carter, because Carter Gibson is our Gornsville Player of the Month this month. Once again, we watched Carter play, and he's a standout on the Gornsville High School basketball team.
Well, you look at that game that we were there, that we broadcast. He didn't really do anything in the first 2 quarters.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden he got hot in the third quarter, and he put him on his back and carried him the rest of the way, because Smith County was in that game.
Yep.
Where, up until really he took over and said, nope, not today. And so he's another stat stuffer as well. You look at his stats.
Yeah, we're looking at his stats right now. Coach Bibb sent these to me. He's averaging 20 points a game. He's shooting 47% from the field, and then almost 85% from the free throw line. I mean, you can't ask for much more than that. Offensively, you can't ask for much more than that.
I mean, you look at 50% from the field almost, and 85% from the free throw line. So down the stretch, the ball's going to be in his hands.
And
he's doing a really good job.
What a valuable addition for getting him to transfer in for Coach Bibb, just to add on to the senior laden team that he has with Tucker Smith and Brody Sykes and Peoples and those guys, and Jay Foster is another classman. But to add Carter Gibson to your squad, giving you 20 more points a game, it only makes them, more deadly than they already was, and pretty much kind of gets them ready to go back to the glass house like they did last year.
Yes, I mean that's the ultimate goal, is to get there, and they're going to have to be dealt with. That anybody that plays them.
Yeah, and I've watched them play. Of course, we watched them play the Smith County game, both of those. Excuse me, but I watched them play a couple other games, and Carter's really stood out. And like you said, it seems like if they're in a bind, he bails them out. And we've seen him do it. I've seen him do it numerous times so far this year. And, they want the ball in his hands when it's crunch time or when they're down a few points. They're giving him the ball.
Right, and it's not just his scoring ability. I was impressed with his ball handling.
Yeah.
Well, he was able to get the ball where it needed to be, facilitate it. And, they got down in a bind. He was taking the shot and making it more often than not.
Yeah, and if you look at it, the game we broadcasted them in Smith County, he didn't start. He wasn't a starter early on, and now he's in the starting role or starting, in the starting five. But he didn't start that game and still led the team to scoring with over 20 points in that game.
Absolutely. And kudos to him. Congratulations, Carter, for being our Player of the Month segment. We will get you your shirt, and we look forward to talking with you at some point.
So once again, we appreciate hashtag Hollies for donating our shirts for the Players of the Month. We appreciate her. We're going to transition over to the middle school championships, and we actually have a middle school player in the house that was on that championship team that in the boys game beat Gornsville last night. So we do have a player in house, and we're going to bring him up here, and we're going to talk to him for a minute. Knox Jones, come on up here. We weren't going to let him get away. I knew we weren't going to let him get away. And this was our next topic of Knox. We're going to bring you up here. So we'll go to the boys game first off. And, you guys end up beating Gornsville, I think, by 26, if I'm not mistaken. End up beating them in the championship game. You guys are 21-2 on the season. And I had your stats last night, and I looked at them. I was like, 21-2 in middle school basketball is amazing. So talk a little bit about, and we're going to put you on the spot and make you talk a little bit. I know you probably don't like to talk public here, but we're going to put you on the spot and talk about Coach Wayne and what he's brought to the defeated basketball program.
Well, he's definitely done a real good job, of course. He's got one championship, of course, with the girls already. And he brings in good players, of course, and helping us make a good run for, of course, the middle school. Winning that in the county and going to state, making hopefully a good run for that as well.
So, Knox, are you more of a scorer, facilitator, or defender, or all three?
I prefer the defensive side. I always have. I like turning defense into offense. For me, I'd rather my teammates score, and I can help them do that.
So I just heard Coach Wayne in your ear right now saying turning defense into offense. And I know that's where it comes from. And exactly when you said that, I was like, well, Coach Wayne's been in his ear. So I'll ask you the question that I asked Emery, and who wins 101?
Well, she hasn't played me in a while, but she has won more games than me in a one-on-one. But if she ever played me again, I could win.
I understand that. So,
go
just
a second. Is that because you might be just a little afraid of Emery?
No, I think it's just because she's a little quicker than me, so she can get around me sometimes.
So I watched you play a lot this year. Of course, being a Union Heights coach, I watched you play a lot this year, and I've seen, you play pretty physical on the court when it comes to defense. Who's the more physical player, you or Emery?
I want to say myself. She likes to get in there and tap the ball out from under them and take it and score. I'm there. I'm sticking my hands up. I'm making them go through it.
So if you guys don't realize that, we're trying to start a sibling war here between Emery and Knox, because when me and my older brother are about the same age as you, about a year apart. So you got to have the sibling war, right? And you have people that ag it on. So we're going to ag it on a little bit. But once again, me and Matthew did the game last night, and we saw, you guys kind of struggled in the first half. It was a pretty close game to the second half. But as me and Matthew alluded to last night, in the second half, your guys' defensive pressure really turned up, and you guys got a lot of defense and offense fast breaks last night, So what was the halftime speech from Coach Wayne when you guys go in? I think he was only up 5 points at the half. What was the speech going in at half?
Well, it was of course always the encouragement for every coach at a halftime, and some of the slander, for the bad things you do. But we had played that game the night before. We really good defense that game, and he was reminding us all just the fundamentals and everything to do going in turning defense into offense.
So Knox, being a county champion, from this point, where do y'all go from here?
But of course, to the state, we're hoping to get there, and just to carry for all our 8th graders, carry that into hopefully the high school. What's the best finish you've had at the James C. Hale since you've been playing middle school basketball? It would have been 2 years ago when we had Riley and Tyler and all them. We finished second.
Okay. Who do you think is your competition to finish out and win that James C. Hale state championship? Because always Pickett County was always traditionally one of those teams, and y'all had it done pretty easy the other night. So who's your competition to get to that state championship?
Our next game, it's going to be Allard, and we've done played them back in the fall. We won, but that was months ago. And then I haven't gotten updated, so I don't know the other side of the bracket yet. But I think we can handle everybody pretty well.
Well, Knox, we appreciate you coming up with us and on the spot kind of thing. Appreciate you talking with us, and good luck on the rest of your season.
And good luck in your one-on-one matches with Emory. Let us know. I'm going to keep asking you every time I see you guys who wins.
All right, I'll be up 10-2 next time.
And once again, kind of off the cuff here, St. Knox there. I was like, I wanted to catch him I'm not going to let him get out of here and not bring him up here.
He's not one that shies away from the camera or anything like that. So
no.
It's great having him up here.
So once again, talk about the middle school championships last night. We talk about the consolation games first. You saw Smith County girls beat the Forks River girls to finish third place. In the county. And then on the boys' side, we had my team Union Heights that played Forks River. We beat those guys to finish third. And then you saw in the championship games, the Gornsville Tigerettes finished off a great season for middle school basketball, winning the championship there against Defeated. Great time for Coach Brock to come in and win that game. And then on the boys' side, as we just alluded to with Knox, that Defeated beat Gornsville by about 26 at the end of the game.
I wasn't able to be there last night. I had prior engagements, but I watched a little bit of that game, and it was Gornsville played Defeated really tough in the first half. And Coach Wayne's speech at halftime must have been a good one, because they come out and just their defensive effort, I think, is what impressed me the most. And I know you've got to see it firsthand. 21-2, you've got to have good defense. Basketball is a little bit different than football. You're going to have an off night shooting, and to be 21-2 at this point going into that state tournament, you would have to think. And I know there's some teams out there that are going to be just as quality, but you've got to think, steamrolling the way they did last night, that's just going to help build their confidence moving forward.
Yeah, and we got to thank Matthew, who's our producer behind the scenes here. We got to thank Matthew for coming out last night and
covering
for Jonathan while he was wherever he was, his hiatus last night, right, Matthew? So we had to cover him. We appreciate that, and we also appreciate Miss County High School for letting us broadcast those games. And excuse me. And once again, you talk about the high school level, about the athletes there and what kind of talent they have. But the middle school level in our county, too, has some really good athletes that will contribute once they make it to the high school level.
Absolutely. You look at it, it's like I was saying earlier, basketball in the next 2 or 3 years is going to be really fun in this county, I believe, given the talent that is in that 6th, 7th, 8th, even 9th, 10th area. When the 10th graders get to be seniors, I think there's going to be some teams in this county out of the 4 that's going to have to be dealt with in the state tournament. Yeah,
something that, and I'd be remiss if I don't say something about the Union Heights basketball team, which is a team that I coach. Jonathan, we won 8 games this year. The first time Union Heights basketball has won 8 games in over 15 years, boys.
Yes, going back to those days when I can remember, Union Heights was, they were always a team you expected to go in and beat. And 8 wins this season. Congratulations! That's awesome.
Something that we're really proud about. And a lot of these teams like Defeated and Smith County Middle School and Gornsville, they win a lot of basketball games. Forks River, have won a lot of basketball games here in the past. And Union Heights it's not really won a lot of games, But for us to come in, and have some new coaches come in, hopefully give a little bit more excitement to the program and win 8 games, So I want to give kudos to our team to winning 8 games for the first time in 15 years.
Absolutely.
So moving on, Jonathan, Smith County, our elementary basketball is over with. We've talked about high school basketball. We got to talk about the NCAA College Football Playoff Championship that was held this past Monday night.
Absolutely. And, I think if you look back at our predictions, I think I was pretty close.
You was pretty close.
I think I said 31-20 or something. I think it ended up 34-20. Never really – after the first drive that Notre Dame had, when they went 16 plays and scored a touchdown and kept the ball basically the entire quarter, from that point on, Ohio State just kind of flexed their muscle and said, no, not today. And it was pretty much over after that.
Yeah, and it was, actually, you feel like after you saw Ohio State go in and play Tennessee in the first round, and it looked like Ohio State was the best team in college football, and they proved it. They played 4 games. They really didn't have a close game. I mean, at times the game was close, but they pulled away in the end, and you could really tell that $21 million budget that Ohio State has really paid off in the championship game.
Absolutely, and I really think they kind of took their foot off the accelerator a little bit. And I've noticed that a little bit more here recently with college football, where coaches they get up by 3 scores and they kind of take the foot off the brake, and then the team gets right back in it. In this day and age with offenses, I think you put your foot on the accelerator and you score as many points as you can possibly can. I'm the Jimmy Johnson. I'm a lifelong diehard Dallas Cowboy fan, and we're licking our wounds right now. But Jimmy Johnson, when he was coaching Miami, he didn't care. He was going to run the score up. He was going to score as many points as he possibly could. And I just feel like in this day and age, with the offenses as elusive and electric as they are right now, a 3-score lead is not much.
No, it's not. It's not much at all. And, you look, college football is now over with. The season's over with. You got which almost kind of like a draft, right? You got the NIL where teams can just kind of really go out and pick and choose who you want and offer them enough money and they'll come to your school. And I don't think it's over with yet. I still think you see a lot of swaps. I don't think you see a lot of the same rosters that you saw this year. But, going to, we speak of Tennessee in particular, we've already got some transfers that's coming in from the NIL. And, you look at Ohio State, they've lost 3 of their key offensive players that went to the NFL draft.
Well, and you look, Tennessee picked up I believe they picked up a transfer this week from Notre Dame. And I believe he will probably be a starter day 1 at Tennessee. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Tennessee will have 4 new starting offensive linemen and a freshman starting. So I'm like you. I don't think the transfer is over. I don't think, it's all about the dollars, follow the money kind of situation. So the rich get richer. And it's going to require, as you said, Ohio State had a $20 million roster that they won a national title with. So they give you the blueprint. Now let's see how many of these blue collar teams and hopefully our teams. And
before we move on to the next topic, we talk about the NIL in Tennessee football. They grabbed one of Notre Dame's best linemen. Like you just mentioned it, and they brought him over to Tennessee, and that's going to make Tennessee better. So you don't know how much that cost. How much that cost them, but thank you. You don't know how much that cost them to get him to come over, but bringing him over makes them even better.
Exactly. And again, it's exciting because he was a player for Notre Dame. So he's only going to help the Tennessee program, because that was one aspect I felt like that we kind of struggled with late in the season was our offensive line.
Yep. So, let's move on now since college football's over with. We'll talk a little bit of college basketball for a couple minutes here. Talking about UT basketball in particular, because we both were definitely diehard UT fans, so we want to talk about UT basketball. Lose another close one yesterday to Auburn. You've lost, 2 of your last 3 games, you've lost them by a combined 4 points, so, you're losing a lot of these close games, but still in the mix to win the SEC championship.
Absolutely. And it's not just the men, it's the women as well. That they're playing close ball games. And I was talking to my dad earlier today, and we were discussing it. And I think this is only going to help Tennessee come tournament time, in crunch time. Yeah, they're falling short right now. Yeah, they got beat by Auburn yesterday. But, man, that was a dogfight. I mean, they were knocking players around left and right. A 22-20 game at half. I mean, defensively, Tennessee travels. I mean, and it doesn't matter if they're playing on the road in Illinois, if they're playing in Auburn, if they're playing anywhere, their defense and Zakai Ziegler and Meshack, Meshack to me is a defensive genius and can do things on a basketball court that not many can do. And he's, if he was a scorer, he would probably be considered probably one of the best players in college.
I think I totally agree with it. But if he's not that scorer that Tennessee really needs. You really got 3 scorers on Tennessee on the floor at a time usually, because you got the center who he can score when he needs to, but we really need Meshack to step up and be that scorer. And if he is, you're right, man. You just don't know what they can do.
No, and for me, if Meshack and Milicic could step up and score just maybe 4 or 5 more points a game, Tennessee would have a roster that would be so deep that would be a problem. And I did. Meshack played well 2 games ago, but man, it's tough right now in Knoxville. They're still. I still think they're going to be a difficult out. And again, I still think the SEC may get 10, 11, 12 teams in the tournament, and I would not want to be a coach in the SEC this year.
No.
The SEC is the absolute best conference right now, and you could say they're better in basketball right now than they are in football.
You know, and talk about the Lady Vols for a minute. You saw, you know, Coach Kim Caldwell has her baby.
Congratulations.
And then congratulations to her. And then you have one of her assistant coaches just step up and never lose anything. You know, they just keep playing. And, you know, and unfortunately, you know, they lose another close game. But, man, just to have somebody that you just come off your bench, step up, be the head coach for that game, and never lose the intensity of how you play says something about Kim Caldwell and the staff she's put together.
And I've watched a few of their games, and if you haven't had a chance to catch a Kim Caldwell coached basketball team, I highly recommend taking 2 or 2.5 hours to sit and watch her games. They are fun. They are up and down the court. They're shooting the ball. They're rebounding the ball as good as anybody. But she plays an exciting brand of basketball.
Yep, she does. And once again, you know, you talk about that, and you love watching the women play. You love watching the women play, and I love when Tennessee women's basketball is relevant again, right? Because it makes, just like we talk about college football, when Tennessee football is relevant, it makes the game better. And when the Lady Vols are relevant in women's college basketball, it makes it more relevant.
Yes, it does. And again, we've discussed it. We talked about it. It's always better when Tennessee athletics are at the forefront.
Yeah. So we'll move on, and a couple of our last segments that we have for the night, and we'll finish up. Jonathan, we'll talk about Little League Baseball and Softball again in Smith County. Registrations are open now. You can go to our Facebook page, find that link, go sign up. If you're looking about being a volunteer in our league, you can go. There's a couple of coaching opportunities out there. If you want to be a coach, you're thinking about being a coach, go sign up. Go put that volunteer in there. We're like I say, signings are ongoing right now. We'll have tryouts in March, and then our season will start around the 1st of April. We'll get kicking and going.
Yeah, and, you know, we need all the help we can get. You know, Michael and I, along with Slick, you know, we do this and we enjoy this. We've done it for, seems like forever. But, you know, we in this county, you know, as us as coaches, been coaches, you know, you're doing more for these kids than just coaching a sport or coaching, you know, and it goes for all levels.
Yeah.
Because there's some of these kids that don't have the opportunities that some of the others may have. And so, you know, we encourage you, if you are interested, reach out to Michael or myself, and we'll get you, you know, hooked up with the correct people and get you out there and get you playing a little baseball.
Yep. And, you know, moving on and still talking about a little more baseball and softball and stuff like that. Gordonsville High School softball has put on the alumni basketball game for, I can't remember, 7 or 8 years now, since Coach Bush has been put that together. Now they have combining it with the baseball program, and Coach Bush and Coach Humes is going to do that together. But now they brought in another high school to play the alumni game. Now they're going to play Macon County. You know, so kudos to Coach Bush and Coach Humes for putting this together. It's a probably their best fundraiser of the year that they have for both of those programs. That'll be February the 8th over at Gordonsville. You'll see Gordonsville play Macon County in that alumni game.
Yeah, and tickets will be $8 before, $10 at the gate. So, and all of the money goes to support the baseball and softball programs. But man, it's normally been the alumni game between Smith County and Gordonsville. So now they're bringing in Macon County. So maybe that'd be something that we can look forward to, is we can build on that.
You know, and you know, kudos, like I say again, to Coach Bush, and you know, look at his softball program he's had for the last few years. You know, they're constantly in and out competing for the state tournament. But these people, these teams need money, right? It takes money to run the programs. Yes. You know, you ask a lot from the parents, we know, but go support these guys. This is an easy way to go support both programs and help them raise the money they need to operate for the year.
And let's be honest, a fun night of entertainment. I mean, you know, you're going to have an older game, an older alumni, and then you're going to have a younger alumni. So, you know, for some of the ones like you and I, you know, get us out there and watch us break a hip or hustle and catch your breath down the court. It'd be kind of fun to maybe laugh at a couple of these guys and gals.
Yeah, and I want to go back real quick while Mackenzie's still here. Mackenzie, Coach Brock has just sent me your stats. You're averaging 15 points a game, 4 rebounds a game. So good job. But, talking about the alumni game, Jonathan, maybe it's something, Matthew, me and Jonathan, maybe it's something Dugout Dads needs to get involved with. Maybe do some live streaming on that unless the Booster Club is going to do it. I don't know, Matthew, do you have any idea about that? I mean, something maybe the Dugout Dads maybe to get in that. And, it'd be fun for us to get some of those players to come on, some of those old school players.
Yes.
Get them on the show. Maybe we reach out to Coach Bush and Coach Humes, Matthew, and something we may consider doing that.
And that will be February the 8th.
February the 8th, yep. Starting at, what'd you say, 5:15 or 5:30, I think?
I think it was 5:15.
Yeah. And Jonathan, you want to touch on the Smith County High School baseball fundraiser? They're fixing that going on.
Yes. So the raffle that Smith County High School baseball does, it's the 2025 first pitch dinner and live auction will be held February the 22nd at Catisa Farms in Riddleton. Each ticket is $50. It gets you 2 meals at a chance at $5,000. And you do not have to be present to win. So it's one of the largest fundraisers. I know that some of the live auction items, I think they said we were going to have the knives this year. That was a big hit last year.
It was a big hit, yep.
A couple of guns, maybe some saws, drills, and stuff like that. So just a fun night to support the program. And again, a shot at winning $5,000. Who wouldn't like that? And tickets are $50. But again, that's February the 22nd at 6 p.m.
And you can reach out to any middle school player, any high school player, any middle school coach, any high school coach to get those tickets if you want to go.
Absolutely.
And then, Jonathan, talk about real quick the upcoming games this week for the high school basketball. You got Smith County versus Clark Range Monday night at home. And then they also have Smith County versus White County Tuesday night at home. And then Friday night they go to Jackson County. And for going on the Gornsville side of the house, you got Gornsville at Real Bowling Springs Tuesday night and then at Van Buren Friday night.
And good luck to them this week. Hopefully the snow is over and we're back to a regular schedule for school this week, and hopefully get most of these games in. And good luck to them.
Well, Jonathan, our second show of 2025 is now in the books. Once again, we appreciate No Bells for having us here and hosting us. And Matthew, once again, thank you for producing behind the scenes. You guys don't get to see Matthew, but you got to hear him last night do live broadcasting for the basketball games. But Matthew does a great job. And once again, we want to thank our sponsors, Kobe McKinney with Underwood Realty is our title sponsor here at Dugout Dads, Pizza Hut for our coaches segment, Infinity Promotions for our apparel, and then hashtag Hollies for being our Player of the Month and Player of the Week sponsor there.
Michael, another episode in the books. Looking forward to warmer weather, and I'm excited to be back at No Bells.
Yeah, and looking forward to our next show, to having the high school coaches in and talking to the high school basketball coaches. We'll figure out later in the week, if we're going to do the Smith County segment or the Gornsville segment, how we're going to do that. But looking forward to having those coaches come in and talk about their basketball programs.
Well, and it gives them a chance to catch back up with us and kind of see how their season's progressing and what their goals are moving forward. We asked the kids what their goals were, but it'll give us a chance to talk to them and to see maybe what their aspirations are moving forward.
And once again, episode 2 of 2025 in the books. I'm your host, Michael Hughes, and my co-host,
Jonathan Parker.
And our producer, Matthew Enyard, where our skills are questionable.
But our spirit is unstoppable.
Until next time. We're out.
We out.
Good show.